Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Elisa Invitational, where we'll be carrying on the continuation here, Snods, to see who is going to be contending for one of those top 2 spots to attempt to make it through, of course, to the upcoming Blast Showdown. Now, getting into our second game of the day, all best of ones the whole way through here tonight, and it is going to be GODSENT versus ENCE. This actually could be quite a spicy affair. This looks to be a damn good game.
It is. It's a very important game for a number of reasons. If you're GODSENT, this game's important because you want to be proving yourself versus the likes of a team that was former at its glory in the top 10. And then if you're ENCE, it's almost like a proof of concept with the debut of the new 6-man roster here for ENCE, bringing in Yampi, as we all know his current situation regarding the majors. So it does make sense to have that 6-man roster. Obviously, we've seen from Astralis now with that attack as well, to fill in almost like a major roster and then a everything else roster with Yampi inside it to see if they could have more success than they've had recently since the departure of their IGL Alexi B. So yeah, basically lots to prove and lots to look out for in this game, Jack.
There is. I think it's going to be a good question, right? Obviously, first few games, he's actually been able to play with the squad that publicly everyone is going to be able to see. So what's the performance going to be like? How's he going to immediately fit into the team? Obviously, a lot of it does come down to as well to like actually molding him into different roles to be applicable. So it could be quite interesting. Meanwhile, over on the GODSENT side, a lot of players everyone will be familiar with. Of course, Makelele can still pack a punch when he's on form. Madden, another man that actually is quite naughty at times. This could be a roster that, in terms of individual brilliance, they could be punched. No?
I haven't seen Madden play. No, where have you seen him?
There's a couple of various online events that I've seen pass. Like, he actually seems to be pretty damn good.
Well, I'm excited to see that. And obviously, they picked him up for this roster to see what they could do. Crystal as well. It feels like that Crystal Makelele synergy from before on the from the former Penta roster as well, which had Thomas on it. Think of the UK Glory who's now at Endpoint. I know, I was thinking of that. Stiko as well joining this roster. Gonna be excited to see how this does fare. And of course, now Jack, they are versus the reinvigorated ENCE that have Yampi playing with them. And it is going to be on Dust 2. The game does go live very, very shortly, so I can mention that. Actually, on HTV, you can see it's on Dust 2, so I'm not going to be revealing any secrets saying that it is that map. But why is Dust 2 important? Well, you see, Jack, if you've got a new, you're hoping Star Orpa on your roster, Dust 2 is definitely a map which you can really show off your caliber of skill with that weapon.
I think Dust 2 is the best possible map we could have had for this game, actually. Looking at how this is going to go, when you put these two teams together, right, and we take it for what it is, an online qualifier like this, where if you want to, you can just absolutely bang it out, play some aggressive CS, right? You've got players in there that literally can just go in, full robot aim, clear their angles on a map like Dust 2's Nods, and have a field day. But for us, I think we've done very well. And for the viewers at home, of course. I think this will actually be quite a splendid game.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it indeed. I mean, many more players to look out for as well on that ENCE roster. Sunny coming in for the replacement of Alexi B many moons ago. Haven't really seen the effect of him on the roster just yet. Although I believe having another star player on the team, which they're hoping to be Yampi, that would hopefully raise the motivation for the squad and push them forward to regain that high spot they had on the HTV World Rankings. And then for GODSENT, as we said before, they are currently the highest rated team in this qualifier at the world ranking of 18. So for them, this is about qualifying one of those 2 spots all the way to the showdown and proving that they deserve to be at that tier 1 level.
That's the issue, though, is obviously no matter what the HLTV ranking says, it's still going to be a rough ride from, as in reality, we've actually got quite a few good rosters in this event. It is pretty packed. There's at least like 4 teams that I feel like could contend against each other to really shake things up. Obviously, with the new addition of Yampi, ENCE, can they be one of them? That is going to be the question for me out of this. I feel like, obviously, GODSENT, a little bit more of a known quantity in what we've seen in the past. It hasn't been too volatile. But Yampi is definitely someone that has been feeding himself nitro, because normally he looks explosive on the service node. You can bring that forward today on Dust 2. And you've got to give a lot of stock to ENCE, right? The core of the team is still good. It just felt like they went through some turmoil after Alexi B and never really found that same structure.
Yeah, it's true. It felt like, as you said before, the structure. And actually, when I was listening to an interview that Alexi B did at Blast Pro Series London, he mentioned that when he watches the ENCE demos, a lot of the strats that they were running were his old strats just cooled by someone else. And at that point, well, if Alexi B has made the strats, he knows the signals, he knows the cues of when to use those strategies versus whatever setup the CT side's running, who they're playing versus, against whatever onslaught they're facing against them, if they are playing the defense side versus the terrorists. He knows what to call and when because he made them up. And I think recycling some of those calls was one of the reasons why they maybe didn't look as fresh and hot as they did prior. with their former in-game leader. Now with Yampi, the whole system's going to change here, Jack. With a new system change and a new reboot on their strategy, I think it should give them a new lease of life, and I'm excited to see them play. And I have just been given word, actually, Jack, so I don't think you can see it, that we are going to be 9 minutes delayed on the game, so we are expecting to go live in about 5 minutes, which is good time, actually, because we didn't really get that much time itself to talk about the event overall and all the teams inside it from the last one, did we? So I'll reel off the 8 teams, and then there's a few in here. I mean, there's Nature Sapphics' team that we're looking out for. There's North, who really have to prove a point now with MSL on their roster. So yeah, there's a lot of teams that we're looking out for, but it'd be interesting to hear what your take is. So the 8 teams, I'll start with Group A. Dignitas, ENCE, GODSENT, and Apex. We've obviously seen Dignitas and Apex play earlier. Apex losing 60-8 on Nuke versus Dig. And then over in Group B, Heroic, Kova, Nordavind, and then North as well. Which teams are you looking out for, Jack, as we finally have a few minutes now to talk off camera?
Obviously for Nordavind as well, that would be an interesting one because you've got NATO Sapphics and the boys. Obviously we know them formally from our time at the Elite Series. Nods, got to know him very well.
Yeah, we got to know him pretty well.
Yeah. Quite a damaging player still as well, and obviously one that has been invested this entire time, still on his upward grind, still trying to get that trajectory further and further for him. North.
He's a grinder, he's a grafter.
Oh, he is. He puts in the graft, mate. He does not stop. His dad's obviously a fantastic man as well. One of the best I've ever met.
Nature Sapphics' dad is a living legend. Mate. I don't know if you want to tell us some of those stories.
Goodness. Me and him had a dance-off, me and Nature Sapphics' dad in Katowice. And it was incredible. He was popping moves like I had never seen before. It was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know, man. Nature Sapphics' dad, what a guy. It's a shame he's not the coach.
Actually, speaking of the after party as well, Nature Sapphics, I was telling him, I was like, big respect for you, because it was so easy for him to take the YouTube route. It felt like he was destined for it almost, where he could have easily kept his YouTube. He even tried his hand at commentating as well and got some really big gigs. And I think for him, it was the choice of passion, really. Does he want to be a pro player or does he want to be an on-camera presence? And I think for him, the feeling inside was, I want to be a pro player. I'm going to give it everything I have. And he did. And so far, it's been paying off. Obviously, he won the summit with Mouse Sports when he stood in with Karrigan, both being Danish. That synergy there definitely did help. And he walked away from that event with a lot of confidence, knowing that he could be in a roster that wins, quote unquote, tier 1 or high tier events. It's definitely something which he can go home from and bring into a new team. Hopefully, that team being Nordavind here, as he is going to be playing alongside some other familiar faces. Tensky, haven't seen him around for a while.
Yes. Obviously a former Dignitas man himself.
Yeah, I know. HS for the past few years definitely went on that lower trajectory. Let's see if he can bring it back into form for when he was on Penta. Nature Sapphics, and then Croman as well, who ironically used to be on Dignitas as well, and then Rubino. So lots of, hate to use the word recycled talent, but lots of players who were onto the scene, they fell out, they're always, it felt like a lot of these players as well, when we're looking at Croman, Tensky, HS, they were always that +1 that never made the shuffles. If there were shuffles between two teams, they were always the players that were left out.
Yeah.
And actually, there's some good experienced players on this roster, so they could definitely do some damage here in the qualifier.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see how they do, because obviously, you know, in terms of the amount of players they have with skill on that team that have had this time to now sort of further push themselves a little bit, there's a lot there. It will be damn good. I mean, Group B and Group A both have a couple of stacked teams thrown into the mix. Obviously, the more known names, rather, as well, with North and Heroic. It's already started, and I can't speak. One game in.
Mate, it's because we're casting at 12 o'clock, that's why.
It's too early for us. We're used to those uber late nights where it gets to like
till,
6 a.m. going to bed. Madness. No, there is a lot of good talent here, Snods. I'm excited. I think the next couple of days are really going to show the cream of the crop. Obviously, once we get onto the weekend as well, that's where these games are going to be damn slobber knockers. So Saturday and Sunday, if you can only choose a couple of games to watch, those are definitely going to be the big boys once we get into the best of threes.
It's a good point you mentioned there, Jack. Sorry to interrupt you. You mentioned the fact of things being locked in, right? When we think about all of the exclusive leagues that there are right now in the world, Pro League, Flashpoint, etc., a few of these teams aren't a part of those exclusive leagues. And for those teams, your Apexes, Kova, Nordavind, etc., this is so important for experience versus tier 1 teams, because as the exclusivity increases throughout Counter-Strike, the opportunity for those newer teams to play versus tier 1 and tier 2 teams in official matches with high stakes is harder to find. So this Elisa Invitational, as the qualifier for Blast Showdown, is so important for a lot of these inexperienced players and inexperienced teams. I'm really excited to see if they can hang, if they can actually do well in the trial by fire.
Well, it's also the exposure you get from it, right? In terms of like the actual playing just throughout it, being on HLTV amongst these games, the potential for the actual rating growth you can get from it to try and creep a little bit further up to help you out in the long run is fantastic. Especially for a lot of the teams we actually have in here, it's a good way to come back through and be like, okay, this is the squad now, this is what we can do. For anyone that is waiting for a bit of an update of what's going on with the second game as well, seems like we're running about 5 minutes behind. Once we are ready, don't worry, we'll jump into the game. We'll kick this one off as soon as possible. Do not worry, your sweet little heads. Now, Snots, obviously the upcoming game is going to be GODSENT versus ENCE. So before we expand too far, let's reel it back in a little bit and talk about that one.
I was going to say, we're off on a tangent right now, aren't we?
I know, we've been expanding into the universe. Let's
love Counter-Strike.
We do. It's good to be back, mate. It's been a little while since me and you have casted together, so quite nice.
Went off to the PUBG Mobile, had a fantastic time there. Back doing Counter-Strike, really enjoying it. So life's good, mate. How about you?
Yeah, good indeed. It's fun to be able to commentate this qualifier. So our upcoming game, for everyone that is just joining us, is going to be GODSENT versus ENCE. We touched on the fact that Jumpy could be a very explosive member of the squad. The map is going to be Dust 2 as well, so that provides even bigger opportunities for him to really pop off getting into the game.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing, or the narrative for us as the commentators to bring into this matchup here, Jack, has to be Yampy for the side of ENCE, and then as well on their T sides, how different is the structure of the terrorist side from ENCE going to be now that they have a new player on the roster, now that they're not going to be recycling our tactics, now that things are going to be new, fresh, and, well, exciting for this Finnish team. And then obviously for GODSENT, it's Madden is a big question mark for me. You mentioned before in other online games that you've casted that he's been very impressive. So for me, he's the player that I'm going to be looking out for because I haven't seen him before in a match that I've casted. And then what is the form of Stiko following the departure from Mouse Sports? And then players such as Michael Early, what's his current form as well now on this GODSENT roster? And can they perform at the highest level? As right now they are 18th in the world on HLTV. And I might actually take a look as well at GODSENT just to see the form that they're in.
That's the interesting thing. Obviously, Madden right now, 1.1 rating.
They beat North only yesterday, Jack.
They've had quite a few good wins in recent history. Like, it's actually been going rather nicely for this team. It's been a slow and steady power creep through the HLTV ratings, right? It's not been sort of one random burst. It has been consistent growth over time. There's been a few blips thrown in there still, but they happen. It's online CS. You can't win them all.
It's true. It's true. I mean, even in Pro League as well, they beat ENCE 2-1, losing out to Vitality and Astralis 2-0 in both of those matches. But then again, Vitality, Astralis, a different caliber of team to what we're playing right now, which is going to be ENCE, who they did beat in Pro League only, 8 days ago. So who's their favorite, Jack? That's the next question, right? If this matchup's only happened, well, just over a week ago in a best of 3.
Yeah.
Well, if ENCE lost that best of 3 and they now have the damage to go over, that's going to be helping them in this matchup here. They have stuff to go off. But at the same time, they are completely different roster. And also, Jack, in that last game they played a week ago, the ENCE players would have known that ENCE was signing Yampy. Obviously, it wasn't known to the public at that time. There were a few rumors going around.
Yeah.
So the motivation in the team already would have been dipped anyway, knowing that you've got to have a roster change coming in very shortly. So, yeah, this is a completely different game to what we saw last time. And I think ENCE are going to be the favorites here. You know, it's the honeymoon phase. We wouldn't know about it.
It does work out. Like, a lot of the time, obviously, when we see those big changes coming in, especially a player like this that is basically going to be walking into the squad hoping to show his worth straight away and really make a name for himself, that's where you get those big explosive moments, sort of, you know, the cinematic opening for him joining your team. One interesting tidbit to take away from that, though, as you were touching on with the game they actually played last time in the best of 3 versus ENCE, last map of that series was Dust 2. Now, that ended 16-4 in favor of GODSENT. That's an absolute blowout. It's not. Obviously, that was after an overtime game that was won by GODSENT. So, you know, quite a demoralizing game to lose it out in the end there. Very tight halves on Nuke. 16-4 on Dust 2 does not bode well. Obviously, different rosters, so there is still that caveat to take into account. But it could be interesting. You look at something like that, it does get you pondering.
So, Jack, I believe the match is now live. Should be going into it very shortly. What's your prediction for this one on Dust 2? You mentioned before 16-4 last time they played. How about this time they're playing?
You know what? I'm going to go on the gamble play. I'm going to say that I think ENCE do win it. I think we're actually going to have quite a tight game here, like 16-12, 16-11, that sort of region. But I think ENCE take it. I think this is going to be a field day for Yampy. You've gone to a map like Dust 2. Ideally, if they literally just play that aggressive style of CS, there's so much that can come from it, right? If you've got your opening game, essentially, with a new roster, Dust 2 is the just breeding ground for you to be able to pop off. And as you said, it does look like we are ready to get underway with this game. So we can slip on inside for this one. GODSENT versus ENCE. This should be a bit of a slobber knocker.
Excited for this one, Jack. Very excited for this one. And it's on Dust 2 as well. Doesn't get much better than that. ENCE going to be starting on the CT side here. Yampy going to be the first player that we are witnessing. Currently going towards B as well. So we may be playing that mid-B style of AWPing, which, well, ZywOo made very, very strong on the side of Vitality. But obviously, with the AWP and on Dust 2, you can be very mobile with that AWP.
Oh, you can. There's so many opportunities for it. I'm so glad it's on Dust 2 as well. This is just going to be a fantastic little affair. Yampy playing in the close corner as he sits waiting for the B run out. Supported, of course. They do decide to deviate from it initially. Going to be backing off, playing quite restricted on this one. It's a slow default that's come out from GODSENT. They're not trying to jump the gun. They're just taking a little bit of control, making their move slowly towards short. A-site is pretty open at this point. Only Alu is in position to really contain them. He's playing from cards, that USP in hand, Snods. Let's see if the sniper can pack a punch with his pistol prowess if they do push him.
Yeah. Alu, not with an AWP though towards cards. He's going to be coming more towards A long, exactly where Aerial is residing. Michael Ailey and the boys here towards top mid going to be rekindling their efforts now towards the A long position, with the lurk play coming out from Zen as well towards short. See if that's going to be effective for him. As Aerial could have the bait as well from Alu if he decides to hide. Let's see what happens.
Aerial doesn't quite get the punishing shots off early on. Flash as they try and clear towards Pit. It's a little bit staggered, but it still works out. Stiko will pop him right in the brain. The rotation comes back over. Sunny, he's caught out, exposed in the open. Didn't expect him to push up that quickly, Snods. Honed in towards short, and it is all going wrong. Everyone has fallen in a matter of seconds. GODSENT, as soon as they had long control, that was basically the round in the bag. They charged up, took A site. It looked a little bit all over the shop from ENCE in the last few moments of that one, Snods. It's a little bit worrying.
Yeah, it felt like as soon as Alu got one-tapped by the P250 of Madden there, it all just fell apart piece by piece. There was no trade frag for Aerial. There was no one there to bait for Aerial as well to try and have that 2 versus 1 duel towards long versus the side of ENCE. Instead, easily taken care of. And at that point, if the players who are towards CT, it's a 2 versus 5, Jack. There's nothing really you can do. Then you factor in the flank coming in from Zen, and it was all GG. But let's see then, into the live round now. It's going to be the flood in towards the B side. It's completely vacant, Jack. And yeah, it's going to be the save call now coming out from NCMP. This can be falling back now towards Carl.
Yeah, you do just save this one. There's no point going for it. They've got the investment to the scouts as well. They were hoping they'd just get the tags and bags off. Obviously, if you get a couple of tags out with the scouts, finish them off with the CZs or the Deagles, but that was not going to come to fruition this time around. At the very least, they should be able to get the full save. There's no real hunt from GODSENT. They're playing it smart. Also means they can keep on to all of these Mac 10s, take them through into the next round, try and get a little bit of bonus cash accumulated. So, going to be having a field day early on in this one.
Indeed, all 5 players staying alive for both of these teams, which means the Mac-10s haven't had their chance yet to farm the cash. And for ENCE, they keep all of their forced weaponry into round 3. The only thing they did concede was the round itself, as now it goes to 2-0 in favor of them on their T side. And for them, Jack, this would be a big win to beat ENCE, to beat their new roster with Yampy as well. Definitely going to be something they're proud of going forward, and a big test here for Yampy as well in his first game. Doesn't get to play those easier matches in his first HOTV game. So for ENCE, Michael Ailey making sweet work of the team here. As Yampy goes down 2. That scout on his lonesome taking out 2 from ENCE.
Michael Ailey absolutely demolishing them there early on. Michael Ailey the bulldozer as he came through. Now, this should be an easy 3rd round picked up. You can try and farm some of that cash towards those max mens and get a bit of a Biggie Smalls playoff. That would be the ideal scenario. And that is what they're going to do. They're going to charge through. SMG start to rack up a little bit of extra cash. They now go 3-0. GODSENT looking good into the early rounds. But here is where the game is actually going to begin. They might as well hold on to the weapons they have anyway, though. Obviously, they can build up a cash from this. You're not going to throw them away just for the sake of it. You are going up against a double AWP setup. Yampy and Alu, both with an AWP apiece. Now this is going to be the true test.
Ooh, manages to Dodged the shot there from the scout. Crystal coming out towards long. Chucks out the Molotov. Has the MAC-10 as well up close. Oh, Aerial fully blind. Eventually going to be dispatched off by Madden. As down to Sunny. Good enough for one, but eventually traded out. And this is the issue here for ENCE. They haven't got those trade frags towards long, which means they're going to be giving up that portion of the map. Alu currently completely exposed to short, but it seems like he doesn't really care as GODSENT start to flee away from the A side of the map. Zen playing again towards the mid side of the map. This time not going to be lurking towards short, just holding for the rotations here from ENCE if they were lurking outside B. But as no one has cross-checked, they're going to be expecting only one player in this B side.
The issue is, bombs on Zen. Zen's just stuck at mid right now. Jampy, with a little flick, tags him through the door as well. Doesn't frag him, but he does at least tag him up, making this a little bit easier for Alu to try and strike like the wild viper that he is. They push out, he finds the first, goes back in for a little bit more because he's a hungry man, and he'll start to bite down upon them. They are all crumbling as Alu, from the car, make this one a drive-by, Snods. That was a very clean round.
Very clean indeed. Big balls on there for Alu, as he stayed at the car position the whole entire round. He didn't actually know that they had fallen back from long. And as soon as Yampy as well saw that player towards mid, maybe he was expecting a mid to be split. That's why he stayed car. Ooh, poor smoke there from Yampy, but luckily for him, Mike clearly isn't out of the angle.
Ooh.
Back 10 though for Zen, and he's going to be leading the charge, and that's exactly why. Here it comes then, Jack. The B rush is going to be annihilated here by Sergey. 3 kills for him. 5 versus 2. Minute 35 seconds left in the round.
Yeah, they've all been gunned down. Falling to their knees. But the mighty Sergey, as he absolutely annihilates them on the push in. Just 2 players surviving with Battle and Michaelele. Let's see if the M brothers can get up too much madness into this one. Nice little boost angle coming up for Michaelele, hoping that he could get ahead above the competition. But Sergey is just bouncing around like a rabbit. He was hungry for the ace. And of course, they're going to let him have it as he charges in. Shuts them all down. A fantastic round. Big opening spray down as well. I was confident.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, Sergey being the former star player of this ENCE roster, now with Yampy coming in trying to claim that spot, touted to be the next big talent with the AWP, that's going to be riling up your current star player. There's going to be some competition, your hope, friendly and healthy competition inside this Finnish team. Although known to not be too animated while they play. Let's see though. Pushing towards lower tunnel. That's 2 AKs out the equation already, Jack. Yeah. Oh, and the third as well.
I mean, that's the thing. You talk about Yampy, right? He's already just taken down more than half the team in a matter of seconds with a classic lower push. A standard play to go for, but he made it look so elegant. I don't even know how he was able to pull off that final frag. Surely he should have gone down, but just wasn't punished. He can now save that AK. Happy days for him. The rest of the squad's now set up to win it, but he's actually gone for the smart play as well. Drop the AK back up towards short, so they do get that on Sunny. And then just pick up the AWP yourself. Zico and Michaelele both coming out towards long. They're going to go for the run boost peek across. It's bold, it's brash, but it might not be too brilliant. It's no one's peeking them. Yampy's just going to be holding the close angles. He watches from CT, waiting like a hawk, prepared to strike. They do double smoke it. There's a massive gap in the middle. They've got to jump over, and luckily they get their knees up just high enough to make it to the site.
Let's see then. A site is clear. 2 versus 4. Yampy surviving against the Molotov. Back now towards short as well. Going to be rejoining the remaining members here as the spray. Not going to work out though. Sergey takes them down in area as well. Going to be finishing off as it is now going to go 3 for 3 into round 7. 4 players staying alive as well for ENCE, which means Jack they can start to bolster up their economy on their CT side. Oh, and this is exactly why an NP9 finding 2 kills, picks up the AK, gets the third as well onto Zen. And those are really important frags, not just for the economy, but for the confidence as well in your first game here for Yampy.
I don't think he needs any extra confidence, mate. He's already had far too much. Some of the bold plays he's been going for are fantastic. If he keeps that up, but help him, Stunts. Could be worrying.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
A classic quote.
Supposed to go for that same Freiburg-esque spray. The Dignitas are playing in the next game, it seems.
They're already warmed up. Out. Tied up, 3-3 apiece. Minute and 25 into the round. Short control being slowly established by GODSENT as they start to make their move. Sunny. Working towards mid, listening out for that audio cue, seeing if he can actually spot them and get a read on what is afoot. It's just the one weapon in play as well, so they don't really have too much range to play with. Ideally a burst, but they can get into close range angles would be the best potential. Zen does have the Tech 9. It has been buffed slightly. Obviously a little bit more of a run and gun machine again. They're going for another run boost, but this one's been denied by the Molotov. It was not meant to be. Crystal's Deagle, so does a bit of denying as these 50 cal bullets of pain start to rain down straight into the now corpse of Sergey.
It's a big kill to take. Cuts the map in half, but it seems like they are still going to be committing towards the A site. Alu with one with the AWP, Sunny as well with the AK. Turning the tide now back in favour, it seemed, for a second for ENCE. Alu now with so much to do. It's the last remaining player here. Michael Ailey as well, the Deagle. Alu there, perfect shot through the box. Going to be taken out by Stiko. 2 versus 1 now for Yampi. 1 versus 1 for him. Let's see then. As he is versus Madden. 22 seconds remaining. The bomb is now going towards short. And Madden takes him down. You mentioned it in the preface before the game started, Jack, that you were anticipating Madden to be the star player here for GODSENT. And he's showing us why.
He can pop off, mate. And he's done so already. Big round to clutch out. Alu did a lot of damage. Quite a cheeky frag he was able to find straight through the wall. But even those celebratory moments were in vain. It was not enough to be able to pick up the win. Straight back into round 8. Let's see if GODSENT can try and fly high. The extra momentum they're going to have off the back of winning that.
So, Alu now no longer playing towards Car, going to get more aggressive here and change his tempo with the AWP. Sign of a very experienced AWPer to change the pace that you play at. Catching your terrorist opposition off guard is so important. On this T side of Dust 2, there's so much going through your mind right now. There's the rotations through mid, what's happening along, short, so many plays that could happen, so many areas of the map to be taken control of. So I'm just trying to see if you can catch a few of these players from GODSENT off guard. But so far, playing very passive are the T-siders. They're slowly, methodically taking control of Dust 2.
Okay. Up towards mid. It's been this classic default that's come out from GODSENT. Essentially, we've seen their trump card. It's been revealed. They like to make this play up towards short and gain a split push on towards the A side to gain control. It's worked out quite a few times for them. It's only been if Alu or Yampi can actually play aggressively enough to quell it before it begins. Big utility usage early on, though. Sunny doing a ton of damage, strips a lot of HP off Crystal and Makelele, dropping them both towards 50. We're into the final 25 seconds of the game now. Seems like they've turned how they want to play this one. Instead, going for a mid to be split. Smoke goes down. Jampy's still got aggressive Cardinals control. Sergey's the one that's made the ultimate play, potentially. He's got in through the back line, walks around through the smoke, but Crystal spots him, Snods, shuts it down. It could have been so pivotal to the success of the round. Instead, it's a 4-on-3 retake. It's up to ENCE to decide how they want to approach this one. If they even want to go for it, it could be too risky as the cash is awful.
It's going to be the same. Has to be the safe here. Yeah, it's going to be called. Jack, miscommunication there. Sergey spots the players going through window, flooding in towards that B bomb site. He's obviously given the call over to Yampi that they are in B. He pushes tunnel to try and take a 1 versus 1 and not get swarmed on that site. I just don't think Yampi was expecting Madden to charge into B, instantly rush towards tunnel and catch him off guard. Once again though, Jack, Madden being almost the MVP of that round, getting an entry once again here for the T side of GODSENT. Going into round number 9, and Madden 8 kills. Next to him is Stiko on 6. Michael Ailey had a very hot start with the scout, getting 2 in that second round. He's now on 4. And then on the side of ENCE, it's Sergey at 7 kills, but apart from that, things are rather stalemate here, early doors.
Round 9. GODSENT. A lot of their default has essentially just been early mid control, setting themselves up towards short. Let's see if things deviate. Or if they're going to start to actually adapt that plan. Potentially just going for a contact play straight through mid. They're going to be flashed out, but Yampi, unfazed by this. He was playing the anti-flash angle, had support, peeks out and takes down Madden. That's a big opening frag to find. He's been such an explosive member of GODSENT. He's been the one finding the nooks and crannies to burrow into. There is a trade back at the very least, meaning this is still a 4-on-4, and this round is going to be in tight contention going forward.
Big kill there from Ariel. Finding the entry early on. As he does go down long. Sunny there clearing out the long position. Will throw out that smoke as well. So Sergey now holding towards mid, 52 seconds left on the clock. It seems like GODSENT are going to be retaking control now towards a long. But there's so much time that they have to use now to clear out all of these angles that Sunny could be. All because he threw that one smoke. However, quickly going to be dealt with now as they start to make their onslaught towards this A site. Question is, though, can the Finns hold them off?
Oh, Mikelele. He's going to be walking into 2 men, ready to wildly swing. They do push him at the same time, but he still gets one of them. That was actually almost a double. And this is where instantly there is a resurgence from the CT side, though. Down to Crystal and Stiko, the last 2 remaining teams. They've got bomb site control. Bomb is going to be planted, and they need to quickly adjust themselves into post-plant. Yampy. Lucky there. Spotted him out. He dived off the site, trying to make his move over towards Gandalf. Once that smoke fades, he's already a little bit paranoid, but he misses the shot. That was the easy one. Instead, Stiko gets away with 2 frags as he's starting to absolutely annihilate him. Snods, a hat-trick of headshots.
Wow.
Oh, all off of the 1 misflick from Yampy. He's going to be kicking himself.
Windy. It's windy out there on Dust 2. Whew.
It does look
windy. It's an easy shot. Yeah, it gives space for Stiko. Stiko being such a cool, calm, and collected player. As soon as you give him an inch, he'll take a mile off you. And just like that, the pause is going to be coming out from GODSENT. They're probably going to be elated from the 1 versus 3 clutch there from Stiko. But more than just the 6th round, Jack. That's also going to be breaking the economy here of ENCE, as they are now down to $3,000, well, actually sub $3,000 a piece beside and Yampy. And now the tough decision as to what to do. Seems likely that they shall save this round, buy up into the next one, into round 11. However, though, Jack, that would concede a 7th round potentially for GODSENT already, just 11 rounds in, if it goes that far for Dust 2.
That is a monstrous round for him to be able to pick up like that. Huge impact as well. And that is demoralizing. That's one of those rounds that not only affects you individually, but really slows down the momentum of the squad. It's quite worrying. They've gone for the short burst. But instead, it's just going to be 3 players that will swing wide at mid, attempt to establish early mid control, build off the back of it if possible. GODSENT, if they gamble correctly here, it could work out very well for them. Long is open. You've only got the 3 players that will be up on shore. Alu has a nade and a single flash. That's pretty much all the utility they have to play with. But they've readjusted. Snods, this is going to be on 5-on-5 brawl at the A site.
Let's see then. ENCE have made the correct stack here towards the A site. Stiko going to be going in first, seemingly confident from his prior round play. Push coming in. Let's see what he can find. Molotov out towards elevator. The rest of his team are here as well. The flashbang's perfect. He is blind, but it seems like a team flash as well as the second one, though, is going to work. But with no armor and just USPs, they are going to be easy work here for the AKs and Glocks from the T side. Only losing 1 player. I'll make it a second. Actually, Stiko goes down for Sergey. As he tries to make it yet another one, but he can't. It's going to be 7-3, and 3 players surviving here for GODSENT, as their money is continuously going to swirl.
And this is where things do get a little bit worrying, right? Bear in mind, the last time these 2 teams fought on Dust 2, it was a 16-4 victory for GODSENT. And they've got 1 round of leeway still to play with, so you never know. But for GODSENT, they're already making quick work on this T side. They look so mobile, the aggression's been there. They have had the skeleton key to any bomb site they want to go into. Now ENCE have money again. This double up setup was pretty impactful. When they actually had the cash to get it out, it worked out nicely. Alu did a lot of damage. He had a free K from Car. Yampy was playing quite aggressively with his and finding openings. Will that be the same story this time around? That is going to be the bigger question. Alu is back over by Car once again. Yampy playing aggressive towards front B tunnels. Same setup we saw them run.
It is indeed. Alu now once again at Car. Molotov is good. It will leave them at bay for a few more seconds. They do have Stiko as well lurking towards long. He's going to have to take that 1 versus 1 duel eventually versus Aerial. Or he may actually decide to lurk and play much slower, depending on how effective his 4 remaining teammates are at executing towards this A site. And here come the smokes. Here come the flashbangs. Let's see what happens.
Find out, Snods. Will this execution work out for them? Is the sniper with a hell of a scope going to be able to take out a cop or two? Finds the first as Madden will hit the DECK. Flashbang comes over. He's trying to push in as Sunny as well looks to establish very early control. They're not willing to give this site up and they want to stop that bomb plant if possible. But Mikelele is the only real line of defense. He fires back with his sniper rifle and sends them off to bed. But the response with the M4s is to just bring the ruckus even louder, charging in towards the site and kicking up a massive fuss. They're all falling to pieces. It comes down to Stiko, but he's got to be quick. Sunny's jumped on the bomb. He's tapped it, come off to try and go for the bold play, but he doesn't have a head. So I don't think he's going to be able to defuse that one. AWP is safe for Stiko, and that is now an 8-3 scoreline. GODSENT thriving in the chaos nods.
Stiko now on 17 kills. He's had 10 kills in the past, 3 rounds at that. Performance here from him, as they are going to be going for the double flashbang, which probably means they're going to be flooding out long, and yes, they are. Here it comes then. There's 2 players here. Once again, Yampi and Aerial, but down to just a Deagle and a CZ to try and, as you say, quell off this aggression here from GODSENT, but going to be falling back now to a more defensive position at the A site, and Aerial going to be taking that CZ away from long and into close quarters proximity here towards a short. Although, seems like GODSENT have caught wind of this, as now they start to trickle out of the long doors.
Didn't fancy taking the startling fight from a frightening height up on top of the site. Instead, dropped down, playing from the corner with a scout in hand, looking to see if anyone's going to push up towards long. Does spot out the head, but can't quite give him a free haircut just yet, Snods. Quarantine and all that. I know everyone's gagging for a haircut.
Oh, mate, my trim is dead, as we say over here.
And that's exactly how GODSENT are going to want to be leaving the ENCE players.
I was waiting to see how you're going to transition that.
Sergey, though, might actually have other ideas in mind, Snods. He's got the Deagle. He's playing the close angle in front tons. Actually lucky to even get back towards the site as well. If he got one, maybe there was a potential to try and slow it down. Ideally, the sweet spot would have been 2. But they've taken site control. And they're just picking them off one by one. They're just charging in. Obviously, it's a bit of a throwaway round as well. They don't have much to play with, but this is the worst possible outcome, Snods. It's just target practice for GODSENT.
Yeah, they're making this look scarily easy versus ENCE in their debut matchup. It was an eco, though, or a quasi-buy coming out from ENCE. They had a scout and they had a few CZs and Deagles, but only one player, and that being Stiko, going down, but not before Stiko gained 2 kills, so now he's on 19. Nearly at 20 kills before we even concluded the first half here on Dust 2. Mikelele trying to finish off Aerial, as he does manage to scamper away, but look who's behind him. It's going to be Zen to finish him off. 9-3, Jack, as we are now going to be entering into round 13. And this is where it's do or die for ENCE. If they bring this one back and make it 9-6 or 10-5, it is salvageable on that T half for them. Although, if it does end 11-4, 12-3, you have to be favouring GODSENT here.
You really do. Like, if past results are anything to go by, just to give us an inkling of how this game's going to develop, this is a worrying first half, right? Although, yeah, as we said, the star power from Yampi has had its times where it shined. That's not going to save your entire CT side setup. So we better hope over on T side they've got a little bit more fuel. Really start to burn a bit brighter. Meanwhile, into round 13, minute and 25 seconds on the clock. Aerial lurking by the pit, waiting for the push to come out. Let's see if he's going to be on top of the world with this one. Finds the first head as Stiko will fall down to the ground immediately. A good way to try and at least slow down the push. And Sergey's rotating back in as well to support. Molotov could be huge in this scenario to, if not do damage, at least keep some crowd control in play.
Let's see then. 5 versus 3. 1 minute on the clock now for GODSENT, and how do they best utilize that? Going to be both staying as a 3-man wolf pack here towards middle. Maybe they can try and gang up here, go towards short. Maybe they can have 2 short, 1 lurk mid. I know that Zen likes to lurk there. And it seems like they are going to be going, oh no, they're not going to be going for that call. That smoke middle actually going to be deterring them from having a lurk. Instead, going to be joining forces here towards short. But Sunny, he's ready for it. Going to be leaving middle, comes out towards car, in the exact position he needs to be.
Madden Taking the head off Alu, no lurking today. However, the shenanigans get much worse when Aerial strikes. That's the bomb drop down, Snods. You've left yourself with your pants around your ankles. Luckily for Michaelele, very proficient at this subject, pushes you in with the AWP and does frag against Aerial, leaving it all in the capable hands of Madden. Although when you give him a 1v3 to go up against, it's a tall order at the best of times. He does crumble under the pressure, falling to Sunny. Bit too bright on that one.
Nice. Round 14 then. Big round win there for ENCE. Let's see if they can start to get some going in a row. Make it 9-6 at best here. As they have the single op set up once again. Going to be Yampi on the rifle this time. That was the big question before coming into this matchup as well, was who is going to be the primary AWPer for the ENCE team? Will it be Alu or will it be Yampi? Seems like it is going to be Alu for now. Reminding me of that Kenny S and Kaylee situation on the former Titan before obviously we know what happened there. But that same situation where it's like the passing of the torch from one AWPer to another. And there you have it. Alu could be taken out Michaelele with ease. Yankee asking for the boost as well. And it's going to work perfectly.
Ooh, Madden. Confident stuff. Pushes out. Takes a lot of utility damage, but just stands his ground when he's given the opportunity to strike. He scalps the first, and then falls back through middle. Unfortunately, though, this split push is now just left on an individual push, as the teammates have started to crumble towards long. Alu with a bit of a whiff. That could have been the round secured. Instead, it still falls into a bit of disarray, and you've given Madden an opportunity. AWP in hand, pushes out, secures the bomb site. Nades going off all around him. The peek from Aerial. It's a little bit of a struggle, but he brings it back and does take down Madden, at least giving them a 5th round and a half.
Madden with the 2K. Couldn't quite dunk it though, could he? For the clutch, but it gets to the final round of the first half. 9-5 here. It's now ENCE looking much stronger once they realize what's at stake. Didn't opt to go for the double AWP setup though, Jack. They could have actually saved that final AWP from Madden, so they are going to be sticking to their guns, quite literally. 4 rifles, and then the single AWP setup here for Alu. That may mean they might expect a mid to B split here coming out from GODSENT, because time and time again, Sunny and Co have been so strong at turning their AXQ into disarray. And yeah, as I say that, the bomb is now making its way towards B. Let's see though, Alu now playing towards CT, not playing towards short, allowing for him to hold off for that mid to B split if GODSENT were to go for that play. So very good read here coming out from the side of ENCE.
Michaelele gets the opening pick onto Jampi. Stiko gets dinked by Cirque as he's gliding through the air. That's certainly one way to drop their HP. He is able to finish him off as well. So it is a 3-on-4 retake. Entirely possible. If not, going to be a bit of a rough ride. They don't really have much utility to play with. They can group up and try and make this work, but it's all off the back of one flash and one smoke. At least they have the kits.
Yeah, the kits are almost a saving grace here as the bomb is ticking. Almost a third of the way ticked through. Now, at the halfway point, they have to get it moving on. The problem is the AWP here for Alu towards the double doors isn't really the most effective weapon at close range. But as I say that, he gets to the AWP and the Deagle. Now down to Madden. And he's not going to manage it. It's going to go 6-9 in favor of GODSENT as ENCE do take the final 3 rounds. However, GODSENT still have their pause on this matchup. And I think actually if the pistol goes in favor of GODSENT, we could be witnessing a very, very fast second half for GODSENT's T side. 19 kills there for Stiko, 13 as well for Madden. Those two being the 1-2 punch combo for GODSENT so far on the T side of Dust 2.
Yeah, they've been doing work into this game, Snods. It's no surprise how powerful both of them have been. Now, 9-6, this actually does keep it darn close. So depending on the pistol round, we could have quite a spicy affair, which is hopefully what we get out of this. Because these two teams are evenly matched in a lot of ways. Madden brought down to 52 HP early on. He was trying to go for the scout play towards mid, did get a bit of info, but his boldness won't really bring any rewards.
Smoke from Ali. Gonna be thrown out towards Xbox, I imagine. Yes, it is. So now they can go up towards short. Do they fake it, though? Go through mid. Do you ever play there if they wanted to? Sunny. It's going to be Flash, who can peek the angle. Spots no one out.
Ooh.
Stiko going to be peeking out with the flashbang from mid. Gets traded out. And now here comes the push towards A.
trying to get that short control. It all depends on if they can converge at the same time. Alu with a P250 in hand, showing that he can definitely punish as Crystal will shatter. Switches it back out to a USP, so he can actually play from range towards long. And it's just on Zen and Michaelele. They're both really teetering on a knife's edge. They eventually do swing out, but Michaelele is gunned down by Sergey, but it all falls into the hands of Zen. Will he be calm enough to clutch this one? Jump spotting, suspects there could be a player towards Gandalf, paranoid about where Alu could be as well. Makes his move up on towards the site, trying to rapidly clear his angles, does spot him and land that bullet straight onto him, but the plant is designed specifically so that Alu can clutch this one and walk away with it. The spam's a bit awkward. He is getting the defuse off. Snots, he's run out of ammo. Oh no! That is
this is the problem of when you play black bars, Jack. Those pixel shots are so difficult. I play black bars myself. I know how hard those shots are to land. It's like you're squinting with your eyes, just thinking, can I see his head? Is that his head? No, is that his shoulder? I don't know. This looks like a black almost blob from that far away, trying to land a headshot on his res, but runs out of bullets, and the round is going to go in favor of GODSENT. Maybe, just maybe, that is enough here to get things started here for the international squad of GODSENT, who, as we mentioned in the preface before the game started, have a lot to prove here with their new roster up against a newly formed 6-man roster of ENCE.
That is one of the roughest ways to lose one of those rounds. Like, that stuff stays with you. It's like if you had cheese too close before going to bed, right? And you get bad dreams. You just be dreaming about that round over and over again. That is going to be a bit of a tilter. Hopefully, they can shake it off going into round 17 as they need to. 4 rounds difference between ENCE and GODSENT right now. Michaelele is the first to take a bit of damage. Vizier's dropped down to 62 HP. Alu will receive some of his own. It's just a slow default from ENCE as well. Essentially just playing 2-1-2 as they were spread out early on. They've now begun to regroup, button up a little bit better, and it seems to be a B split, Snods.
Let's see then. Towards that B site, it's going to be Crystal and Michaelele, but these are the 2 players that have the extra round weaponry, and that being the MP9 and the Scout. I don't know if they have the firepower here to really fight back versus the 5 players, especially as they lose them instantly. As Zen is good enough for 1, but look at this coming out from Yampe. Going to be traded out, though, by the MP9 of Madden. And he is low HP. It's all 2 versus 3. With the low HP of Madden and the AK being so easy to just pick up and escort away. They are going to be throwing in the towel here and saving. It's going to go 7-10. ENCE win the force.
Yeah, that's a save on that one, Chief. Nothing that you can really do with it, right? Back off, keep onto those weapons. You've got an AK on Madden, M4 and Stiko. They both have a little bit of armor still remaining as well. Stiko, not so much. It's been shot up a couple of times. And a Molotov, clutch onto those. Happy days, you've still got away with it. Otherwise, their cash would have been a little bit awful going into the next round, Snuds. And much like a rundown fairground, there just wouldn't have been a lot to go on.
Well, there's been quite a lot to go on so far. We are now, 17 rounds in? Well, 18th round is going to be live now, but we have seen 17 so far. And the surprise for me have been T-side from GODSENT, Madden and Stiko. The only issue that I would have with that, Jack, is a lot of the rounds that GODSENT have been winning have been off the back of individual plays. When we think of the clutches from Stiko, the entries from Madden on that terrorist side, and the only issue that I may have on the CT side is if they have to start playing more as a team and more structural CS, is that where ENCE start to pick them apart slowly in these slower rounds on their T side?
It could be. It could be the case. I mean, GODSENT's default essentially was just short control a lot of the rounds in and there. They found a big weakness towards the A site, right? There was a leak, and unfortunately for ENCE, they never called the plumbers in time before the kitchen sink fell through. So it was a bit worrying. It's not. They were wading around in water. Is that going to be the case here, though, for GODSENT? Are they going to have a massive leak on their CT side? Alu striking with a Scout, takes down Stiko early on. Madden just going to jump spot it, at least get a bit of a read. But this is rough. They're taking so much damage and dropping so many players in the battle of attrition that this is going awfully.
2 versus 5 now. The bomb site is completely vacant here. Zen with 1 onto Yampi, but I don't think it's enough. Bomb has made its way now into the site, and they've got the lurk as well coming up from Sergey. Easily finding the head of Zen. We're down to Madden now towards CT and shall be saving. Question is, though, will they let him? And no, they won't. 8 to 10, Jack. As we enter round number 19. And it's looking like a well-oiled machine now on their T side.
Yeah, things have got slowly better for them as the game's developed. It seems like they're starting to hit that full speed. Alu gets the early tag off with a scout. That'll be beneficial as this one goes on. But for Sunny, he's just playing it like a gangster snot. He goes for the flash straight out, swings wide with the MAC-10, takes down Michaelele, leaving him dead in the alley. It's worked out very well initially on the T side, and they get a little bit more as well. ENCE are just smashing their way through the defenses, and GODSENT don't even know what's hit them. There's still 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the round.
Oh, I'm a big fan of that knife that Crystal's got. Woof! Wonder how much that's worth now. Although that might be the consolation prize that he has, just to stare at his expensive knife, as their economy isn't really worth that much right now. With the round loss bonus coming in, Michaelele may be forced onto an AWP no Kevlar. As if we remember, they won the pistol, then got instantly reset. Yeah, he's going to have $5,100, so that does mean a glass cannon AWP if he does wish to buy it. Instead, he's going to buy the AUG. And what that tells me, Jack, is he's going to be playing very passive towards B. He may even be playing back plat here, or he could be playing a position towards mid towards short.
Now, the interesting thing to keep in mind with this, Snod, is that the AUG scope accuracy is actually a bit worse than it used to be now, whereas its hip fire's improved. So it's not as effective for holding angles with the scope anymore. It was a really interesting change that came in, so I wonder how that could affect things.
That's an Ezio comment to make.
Get it in there, little.
Did he tell you?
No. Let's read the patch notes. Aerial, though, he's popping off stars with that MAC-10. Been able to gun down 2 of them early on. Everything's just crumbling right now for the CT side. It seems like there's no trade potential in a lot of the fights that's being taken. GODSENT on T, they look confident. They look like a lion just charging in there. Now they've moved over to their CT side, Snods. It's like a house cat.
Able to walk wherever they want to, it seems. As they have domesticated GODSENT on their CT side. And what's really interesting as well, the fact that we do have Yampy making his debut, you would actually expect that having a new player on the roster in their first official match to actually be better on their CT side, right? Yampy can play how he normally does in FPL. He can play his own positions all by his lonesome. You know, if he was playing mid as he was prior. But actually it's easier to plug and play the T side because it's looser, it's freer. You can have more autonomy over what you want to do. You can be more relaxed. On the CT side, there's much higher level of communication required depending on where the T's are going, retakes, positioning, placement of, you know, the CT players themselves. Whereas on the T side, it seems like once ENCE have found their footing now with this new roster, they can have their IGL, making the correct calls. As long as they're all following it, they can run like a well-oiled machine from the get-go. And they're just doing contact plays with Steam, Jack. As you said before, Sunny is just running around the map, and here we have it again. Aerial this time towards long, takes the scalp off of Michaelele, and once again, we're into a favorable position. Yeah, now it's 2. 5 versus 3, Jack.
Yeah, it's so easy. They're literally just playing individual aim duels and winning the majority of them. Obviously, this round you can take with a grain of salt because in reality, it's just pistols that GODSENT have. They're not really there packing a punch with their M4s in play. The same theory does apply. There hasn't really been many opportunities for them to actually trade for each other. It just looks a little bit fragmented on their CT side, and in reality it gets worrying now because finally ENCE have taken the lead. For some reason it doesn't go completely south. This should be an 11-10.
Yep. And I think once ENCE do get the grasp on the lead in this matchup, I don't think they're going to be letting go of it, Jack. As all the momentum is currently favouring Finns. As we are on the eco here from GODSENT. So yeah, it is going to go to 11. And with that as well, the majority, if not all of the players from ENCE, if they do have 5 alive, Jack, are going to go to $10,000 in their bank accounts, which means they can essentially buy up for 2, 3, 4 rounds going forward, depending on the round loss bonus as well if they do lose consecutive rounds. So really dire situation here from GODSENT, and it makes sense to go for the second time out.
You need it. You need to take it. You have to use them. We still see so many teams that struggle to actually make the most out of the timeouts that are given to them, right? Especially in a qualifier like this. This is where it turns into crunch time. You've lost a couple of rounds now. Normally the sweet spot is around 3 rounds on the trot. That's where you go, okay, even if we need just a moment to breathe, talk about it, and switch things up going forward, this is your opportunity to do so. Hopefully, it allows them to adjust things. And one of the potential factors that could do just that is the fact they've gone for a double up setup. One on Zen, one on Mikelele. Interested to see what the changes for the setup will actually be. 2 players deep towards long, they've got 1 on site.
This to me is desperation here. Almost as if we've tried everything we have and it's not working. Let's bring out a double op setup and see if we can try and counter the aggressive plays, because in terms of skill, they can't quite match ENCE. And this is exactly why, because they can walk through. Although, this time, without the AUG and the AWP instead, Mikelele makes quick work of Sunny. Smoke comes in towards mid to B. Zen as well, the second. It is working very well for them here so far. Stiko can be dispatched off towards long.
Madden eliminating Sergey early on. Leaves this into a 2 versus 3. Only one of the AWPs remain in play, and potentially not for long. Mikelele just storming forward. Gets attacked by Aerial Jampy. That headshot is absolutely ridiculous. The snap reactions from this man as he breaks his neck. Left in the 1v1, teetering around the smoke. A little bit precautious, worrying about the potential angles that he could be pushed from. He doesn't want to make any incorrect moves. Crystal slowly starts to push up, while Jampy is just looking to raise hell like Smoking Joe Fraser, the Hellraiser. And there was definitely some flavor to those kills, Snods.
This is bad news for GODSENT. Jampy seems to be finding his footing here in his first official match for his new roster. 2 pixel perfect headshots there with the AK, showing that his skill and his talent goes deeper than just the big green gun. 12 to 10, 2 advantage now as well here for ENCE. As Zen onto the 5-7. MP9 there for Crystal. Scout for Mikelele. Besides that, 2 M4s for Madden and Stiko. And the CTs are trying to get aggressive here, but it's going to be smoked off towards the B site. There are 3 players from ENCE here with the bomb, waiting to potentially go for that mid to B split. And with that, Mikelele now going to be... Oh, I nearly said smoking towards mid to B, but actually going to be scoping towards mid to B with the scout. He's going to be smoking off, hasn't got one left anymore. And with that, a much weaker B defense, as he's playing a scout now instead of the AWP at that mid doors position.
12-10 Snods. 55 seconds left on the clock because we're starting to get quite close towards crunch time. A bit of damage done to 2 of the ENCE players. Jampy down to 53, Sunny on 28. Meanwhile, for GODSENT, they're just playing 2 a site. Only 4 players alive, and in reality, their arsenal is lackluster. Their weapons really aren't going to have too much stopping power to them. And the call appears to have been made to go for a split push on towards the A sites. They're going to be vastly outnumbered when they come and knock it.
It's true. Although the tag does land here, maybe that's the silver lining they were looking for.
Oh, there was so much potential. If Madden was actually able to get that second frag onto Jampy, the whole thing could have been changed. Instead, it's your boy Jampy, and you know he's not going to miss. And it falls into this, the chaos of a 2-man retake with Crystal and Zen. Zen burning to a crisp as he's been sent off to the Burns ward. He didn't even realise what was going down. And talking of going down, that's Crystal hitting the deck as he's been gunned down by Sergey.
Yeah, what's that now? I mean, I think it's 7 rounds in a row. Yeah, indeed it is. 7 rounds to be won in a row for the side of ENCE, and it reflects on their economy as well. They now have enough money to essentially buy for the rest of the half, because if GODSENT start winning, the round loss bonus starts to kick into effect. At that point, if you're GODSENT, you have to win 6 buy rounds. You don't get any freebies here versus Glocks, unfortunately. Let's see, though, if Jampy can find any freebies, Jack.
Jampy, the only thing he's getting for free is a bullet straight to the cranium, Snods. He's gone down like a sack of potatoes. Now we're left a 4-on-4 ENCE. They get this, they're going to be up 4 rounds. Be in a huge position to try and teeter over the edge to win this one. Madden doing his best Dragon Force impression as he's fighting through the fire and the flames. Luckily, they actually land either side of him. He's given a clean shot onto Sergey and now throws this back into the favor of GODSENT. This round's gone quite nicely so far. Unless Sunny can really throw a massive spanner into the works, Nods, this could be a GODSENT pickup.
This kill is so pivotal here. And actually, the delay that he's managed to do here, allowing for 2 more players to rotate in now towards the B side, but Jack is sort of ruse. It's sort of fake. real player going to be coming in towards the A site. There's only a sole player from GODSENT. And that's just going to be Madden, all on his lonesome here towards CT. The issue as well is he can't actually see them from short on towards the A site. The bomb shall go down. It's a 3 versus 4.
I thought they heard him. He ran. He actually ran up towards elevator, but he's gotten away with a peek on Alu as he charges towards long. Madden's picked up 2 frags. That's 4 in total. This could be an ace and a clutch for GODSENT if Sunny messes up. Although he gets the first, peeks out. He needs to try and take down the bomb diffuser. He's tapping at them one by one. He will get the headshot on Michaelele, and it's doable.
Oh no!
How has he won this round? Sunny, shining bright as you like.
That's a kick in the teeth for GODSENT. So 1 versus 4, Jack. That range as well. Look at the weaponry that they're working with. It's the sole AK onto Madden. He couldn't quite land the shot. And besides that, it's an MP9 and Deagles at the range from pit all the way to the A-bomb site. Wasn't quite enough. And with that, ENCE are going to be fired up. Already aggressive into mid is Alu. 5 versus 4. This is looking like a field day here, although Zen brings it back into a 4 versus 4 before the B split can happen. But in a 4 versus 4, we know who that favors, Jack. It favors the T's because look how split up the CT side defense is.
This is a worrying position to be in for GODSENT. Although at least this round is still close. 3-on-3, B-bomb site control established, though it's been taken as the domain of the T's, and they've lost Deco. Zen does switch on Sergey and is able to pull that frag out of the bag. He was trying to retreat, though, getting into a better position to play with Madden. He couldn't do it. He was found and fragged, and it all falls onto that man. Madden, not fancying the AWP, instead switches out to an M4, prefers to be able to play up close and personal. Flashbang through the door, hoping that he can try and bring the pain. It was not meant to be. Again, another frag from Sunny. Another round for ENCE, and they're in a dominant position now. Match point
for the Finns, and they've got 5 of them to work with, Jack, and also a plethora and abundance of cash at their disposal. This should be easy footing here for the favourites in this matchup, although they didn't look like the favourites for the entirety of this game, did they? Michaelele now losing out that duel versus Alu. She once previously annihilated him and Yampi in. Stika this time could be getting aggressive towards long. Madden was successful, although it seems like Sergey is expecting it this time.
Short control. Ingdi. Play from ENCE in this round. Very well could be the final round of this best of 1 if it goes their way. Starting to make their move up towards the A site. The only player that could really have a massive impact against this is Michaelele, and he's only on 12 HP with a mere scout, not even an AWP to try and be a bit of a showstopper. This is worrying, Snots. They've already lost Zen. They're really in a dire position. There's only 50 seconds left on the round as well, so they do go for a burst play. Most likely be relatively soon.
Let's see then. Michaelele, 12 HP at the car. He isn't playing the headshot angle. I wouldn't be expecting him to be crouched behind the car. He may just be taking a shot and then falling back to the left, out of line of sight of the players who do come charging towards the A site. Although 1 bullet and he is dead. And look at the HP as well. All of the players above 79 from the side of ENCE. So yeah, the tag comes through, manages to fall back though. He misses, Jack.
He missed, and he didn't survive for long. And at this point, no one's surviving. The MP9's the only thing that's had impact into the round. Crystal's going to run out middle, but he didn't expect the lurk. And the lurk will be ready for him. Sergey finds the frag. 16-10. ENCE overthrow GODSENT. The last time they faced off on Dust 2, it was a 16-4 victory for GODSENT. Today, that was not meant to be, Snods. They've blundered there in quite a few rounds. Their T side was really quite perfect for the most part. The default was good, the actual trading was nice, but none of those things carried over to CT.
Yeah, and now seeing the highlights as well, we saw that early play from Yampi getting that 3K, and it really felt like the momentum shift for ENCE after Yampi did get that 3K aggressive push towards Beloa. And then many of the big clutches as well coming out from Stika here early on, as I think we may be witnessing one very, very shortly here on the replays. But yeah, as you said before, Jack, this is a game of 2 tales. The first being in favor of GODSENT, who thought they were almost destined to take this map, but how well they played on their T side. It was towards those last 2 or so rounds of that terrorist side of GODSENT where they lost versus ENCE. They made it that 6-9 scoreline, and then suddenly everything went south.